Thanks for coming. Obviously excited to get going after a bye week. Just want to start off by, this is something for years we've been asked to wear a patch on our coaches. I'm not a big fan of just sticking patches on shoulders. And I found out more and more it's Duchenne muscular dystrophy research is why the coaches do this. It's called coaches for that.
Yes.
To be honest, I just didn't know much about it. I did it because I was told to do it. And I've become very close with two members of our team. I consider them knowing Jacob, who are stricken with this disease, and we love them to death. And so we're going to do some special things for those guys this week. And I asked for everybody to get involved. There's so many great things to get involved with. But this one kind of hit home now that I never really knew much about the disease, and I do now. I say that not proudly. I didn't know what it was, but I really am very familiar with because it hit home. These two young people in our practice almost every day, and they're very close with us. So I want to start out by saying that, and a very tough opponent this week. Cincinnati, a lot of respect for them. Offensively, they've been good in the past. They're exceptional now. I saw firsthand live watching it that Friday night when they just put 400+ yards in the air against Toledo. Very good, a good team, and they continued again this week with another good win against Miami, Ohio. So we have a lot of respect for their skill. The one thing that I still remember, Coach Tuberville saying that they're the best group of receivers that he's coached, and that struck a chord with me because I know what he's coached. He's coached very good teams and some very good players. So we got to be at our best Saturday, and I expect us to be that. With the bye week, we practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday last week. We're back at it today, plus 1 day, and we're ready to go. So I have some questions for you.
Front row left, Rusty.
Is this particularly good in an early bye week when you've got a young quarterback like JT? Does this buy him more time, or is it better to have a game?
I think that question shows up every time we have a bye week. Was this a good week? I don't know. It's the earliest I think we've ever had.
Particularly for a first-time quarterback.
And the other thing is to keep playing because it didn't get better that week. So I don't know. I can't really didn't give any thought to it. We got a bye week. We utilized it. We did a lot differently. We operated a lot differently this bye week than we have in the past. We practiced a lot of game reps, and it wasn't just for him. It was that offensive line was still trying to finalize the final five, the starting five for the offensive line. And they have to get better. And then obviously on defense, have some new players as well. So more game reps than we've ever done.
Just as a follow-up, Texas, Arizona State, UCLA, Ohio State, you guys are all on backup quarterbacks. Is the importance of having a backup at that position now? I mean, it's always been important. Is it more so perhaps now because of responsibilities on a backup?
I think it's always been. You're a shoelace away from going to the game. We kind of slowly with Kenny Guy the last couple of years. And I'm always, we've through, I'm just trying to think through my career, Alex Smith was a backup quarterback, took over, did very well. We had Tebow was our backup, took us to did very well. Kenny Gayton was our backup here, so that's always been a big concern. And I think it's getting probably a little bit more exposure than ever in the past.
Front row middle, David.
You mentioned last week you have an obligation to get the 5 best offensive linemen on the field. You just touched on this a little bit earlier. Have you settled on a starting 5 for this game, and when do you hope to settle on the starting 5?
Well, Jacoby had a high ankle sprain. He should be full go today, so he limited reps last week. Pat Elfline was dealing with some feet issues. Both of us had some large problems in the summer, and he surfaced a little bit, but he's fine. He's 100%. So we just, the guy that's improved a little bit is Chase Ferris, and he's the backup right tackle. And if he's one of the top 5, then he should be the backup right tackle. He should be the starting right guard. So we have not made a final decision on that, and I'm not sure we will this game. I think we're going to play 6 guys and get some rotation going.
So a pretty good battle between Ferris and Price there at right guard.
Yeah, Ferris and Price, and then also Pat Elfline at center. We've got Joel Hale is continually battling. The guy that's made a big jump start last week was Tony Underwood. We moved him to center when Chad Lindsey stepped away because of injuries. So it's in flux a little bit, but the positive is there's very capable personnel that's available to us.
Second row left, Ari.
Reverend, you spend a lot of time talking about the importance of keeping the top prospects in the state. Conversely, when you go out of the state and you're recruiting other top prospects in other states, how do you approach that, and how do you recruit against other in-state pools of other programs that want to keep their kids in state?
How do you do it? You just recruit. That's the name of the game. And we'll always recruit the footprint or the local as hard as we can. The negative that's happened in recruiting is you're not getting that chance to watch guys develop. Everybody's committed so early the last 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, I can't stand it. I like to go watch kids play their senior year, and there's nothing better than the first bye week to go watch. We're going to watch juniors now. You don't watch the seniors because most of them are all committed. We're down to our last few scholarships for this class. I can't remember it ever being like that. A couple schools would do that, but a lot of times you get your commitments in December, January. Now it's December, January, but it's like a junior year. So you're not even getting to watch them play their senior year, watch them develop. And to answer your question, in-state recruiting is primary. Out of state, you kind of cherry pick. We have great respect for certain states, and we've had success and great ties. Jersey, Georgia, Florida, are all the places where we've drawn players from, and also, Virginia now, Jalen Holmes. So you just try to go, first of all, where the best players are, and second, we have connections or where there's an interest, and you'll get Rick Miller or Bob Bell.
You say that, it's important early on in there. When you're being recruited by your home state school, it's easier to develop that talent, or easier to notice that talent earlier, I would assume. You mentioned how much quicker things are. How does that change? I mean, does it change at all when you're going out to places like Georgia and Virginia to not be able to get in? Or, when home state schools are getting you into freshmen and sophomores now?
There's a challenge. I mean, obviously we've done okay with that.
Yeah.
But there's a challenge. The thing that happens in state is schools are, there's schools that offer 150 kids, not just the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
We can't do that because what if they all come? We got a problem. So that's one of the problems in state. All of a sudden, well, this school came and offered me, Coach, why didn't they offer me? Well, they've offered 75 other guys too. And we get a little bit of a rut because they'll say, why didn't you offer us? Well, we're going to. Let us watch you play. And we'll offer you. So that's kind of what's going on in the last few years. I don't know if I'm answering your question.
No, that's interesting. Thank you.
Front row, Bill.
Given your background, Cincinnati is probably not just another school to you, obviously. Could you describe the difference between what Cincinnati is now compared to when you went there, and even when you played them in the bowl game?
Sure.
Emotional attachment.
Sure. Very strong emotional. My sister is an associate provost in Cincinnati. My other sister was a homecoming queen there, and obviously my dad, my grandfather. Just strong history that you see. Cincinnati's kind of has had a very similar transformation of the academic reputation that Ohio State went through. When I was there, was something called U College. It was open enrollment. It was just a big state school. And my sister lets me know all the time that it's not that way anymore. It's a very high-end academic institution, which has always had great reputation, but just administration a lot like Ohio State. That'd be a great study what's happened to the two largest in-state schools, how much they've grown. And as far as admission requirements, very similar trajectory as far as, we're up to 29-30 averages. ACT, I don't know Cincinnati, but I know they're done very well as well. So there's a strong tie, a lot of respect, and Cincinnati's a great town, it's a great university.
And in terms of the football program, how?
Oh my goodness, yeah. That started, I was very aware of the transformation. It actually started with Coach Murphy, who's at Harvard, I believe now. But you saw a transformation of the program when they started investing in the facilities. The facility I played there was very strong. They made a decision, a commitment, and obviously had great rewards for it.
Third row left, Bill.
Could you talk a little bit about your experience playing there? What the program was like?
A lot of experience. I played professional baseball out of high school, and did that for a couple of years, and then I made a decision to play football. Cincinnati, I wasn't a good enough player to go there, but I did play a little bit, and then just went right into coaching afterwards. So we were not very, it wasn't a great experience. We weren't very good, but I still have great friends and good memories from that.
Your decision to hire Kerry Combs from Cincinnati, what went into that? Why did you want him?
Well, a lot of it was Cincinnati, more as Kerry Combs. I don't want to devalue Kerry. Kerry's an excellent football coach. I knew him from the days of Coleraine. For some reason, I remember people, because when we were here back in '86, '87, with Carlos Snow, Greg Fry, Benny Clark, there's another player, Jay Cook. So we had Tom Lichtenberg recruiting Cincinnati. There was a story that Ohio State couldn't recruit the Cincinnati player. And I was like, I wrote the fence, what are you talking about? We used to always get the best players from Cincinnati. And so when I heard that, we had a spot open. That was part of the decision to hire Kerry, but not the only reason. Kerry's an excellent coach. But Cincinnati recruiting, we've done pretty well down there. We hope to continue to do very well.
Cincinnati?
That's as good a football as there is.
Okay, that's you answered the question.
Third row left, Todd.
Urban, there's a lot of talk in Cincinnati with the conference changes, membership in recent years. People see them as looking on the outside in as a Power 5 conference. Do you see Cincinnati football as a Power 5 conference
Absolutely.
program? And what makes it a Power 5 conference?
Well, it's the marketplace. You're talking about TV sets. You're talking about there's a nice tradition in Cincinnati, and the recent tradition's been real good too. With Coach Kelly, to start with Coach D'Antonio, the coaching tree that has developed in the last 25 years has been pretty remarkable, and the success they've had. So, yeah, I was surprised that they weren't invited into a Power 5. I don't know the whole story. Is that even the right term, Power 5? The Big 5 conferences, and I think we certainly respect them as if they are. When we're watching film, they're certainly as good as a lot of the other teams that we've gone up against.
Front row left, Doug.
Urban, we talked so much about the pass defense in the offseason. 3 games in now.
Here we go.
You've evaluated it. Has it come as far as you wanted it to? Is it good enough at this point
We
for
have
this challenge?
the first game was wishbone. Second game we did play. We played pretty good. I think we owned 190 some yards passing, not great. And then the last game was out of hand really early. So we have not. This is the test. This is the one that we're all kind of shooting for, and they're really good at throwing the ball, and it'll be a challenge for us. So I can't make that evaluation yet after the first 3 games.
And obviously you're playing a very good in-state Ohio team this week.
Very good.
But when you went to Florida, I'm sure you went there knowing that there were 2 other national championship caliber programs in that state, Miami and Florida State. At Ohio State is that team. Is there anything different about that, coaching here versus coaching at Florida? Coaching at a school where it's obviously clear Ohio State's the dominant team in this state versus when you went to Florida, there's 3 teams that are fighting to be the dominant team in that state. Does it make anything different, whether it's in recruiting or attention or anything at all about the program?
Interesting question. I'm just trying to think. When you at Florida, when you walked in a home, it was either an old King or a Gator. It was 33%. What am I getting into here? Usually you look on the wall and figure out where you're at. That was it. You can walk into some type on it, or you see them. They do this, and they do that for you. You walk in and do this, we have a wish or that. So right away you find out. Here I think more in Southern Ohio, you'll see some a lot of UC allegiance. To say that we get in a ton of recruiting battles with it, we have a few, not to the same caliber that we did down there. But I see that continuing. As UC continues to elevate their game, which they've done, I can see that happening down the road.
Second row left end, Dave.
Urban, just with Noah Spence returning to practice, how do you kind of balance the belief in the good of a kid versus what appears to be multiple core violation, zero tolerance issues? Is there a part of you that says, I don't want to hear any excuses, you're done? Or I guess, how do you weigh all that?
Well, that's another good question. He's not going to practice now. That was just last week. So he's not practicing, getting full-time treatment. He is working out just for his well-being. I think that's a good question. When is the zero tolerance? When addiction is set in, or whatever decision to harm yourself and harm your teammate. Those are all that we wrestle with all the time. I've been criticized for many, many years about I treat these guys like they're my kid. And I'm not a big fan of dismissal. I just don't do that very often. It's got to be a severe one, where you're hurting someone else. But I'm doing the best we can. We are the Ohio State University, or a group. It's an institution based on educating people, so we're doing our very best to what the future holds for no, I have no idea. But to throw them to the street, I didn't feel like that was appropriate just yet. And we're going to do the best we can to help a guy that was an academic All Big Ten, good student, great family, that has a problem, and it's our job to help him. I don't think you'll ever see our staff ever do that to your out in that kind of situation. No, unfortunately, sometimes it's not our decision.
Front row right, Austin.
Urban, it seems like Mike Thomas has turned around the corner. How or when did that happen?
Well, it's been a process. He has really done a nice job. He's the mistake guy. Every third play, he'd go the wrong way or make a mistake or come up with some excuse. His maturity, his dad got real involved, and the good thing, I love having conversations with dads about, not the third uncle, but dads about what we need to do to move on. And I think it was very productive. This is one of those good stories that, why is my son not playing? Well, here's why. Okay, let's fix it. Fine. Well, we're going to move him out of here. So he's reaping the rewards of a combined effort with his position coach, with his family, and with the head coach and strength coach of this is what you need to do, Mike. And to give him credit, he's done.
Were you all tempted at times last fall to put him back out there, or were those problems?
No, he didn't perform well. We made a decision last year. It wasn't to save him. We don't do that. He's the best player. He wasn't the best player. And we saw some immaturity that he needed to mature, and he showed signs of it. So I know we did the right thing, and so does he know we did the right thing. We just have to. Every day's a new day. He's got to continue that same work ethic. That's how he brings that way. He's a great story. It's one of the great ones in coaching that you see a kid mature and turn into a young man.
Tim.
Yeah, Urban, two questions. Number one, Gunnar Kiel, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Because obviously, even though you spend time with your offense, you got to see him on that Friday night. Right. Is he the kind of guy that just stands there and just wants to pick you apart? How would you describe him?
I see a very strong guy. He looks big. He looks big, strong arms, and throws in a very courageous player that he throws into the oncoming pass rush. He's like most really good quarterbacks. He's got really good personnel around him. Really good. So I see one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
And the other thing, last year when things just kept getting, it seemed, at least from our vantage point, worse and worse with pass defense with you. Did it almost drive you crazy? I mean, what was it like dealing with that? And what are the signs that tell you think y'all got it straight?
Well, I think last year, Christian went down, we had a void. Not just the playmaking ability but leadership, but we didn't have that answer. Or the answer is too young. So number one is I've pushed our coaches extremely hard to get the young players ready to go. You can see us pushing rate on McMillan, and it's just not acceptable to have talented young players that they don't know what they're doing. We'll teach them what they're doing. So that's number one. Number two is I feel we're very systematic now. Last year we had some errors that we would change week to week to fix what was a weakness. We have a system. I really like our system right now. I believe in it. We need to see it executed this week, but it's more systematic, if that makes sense.
Two more questions. Back row left, Rob.
Urban did the HBO special. What prompted you to do that? What was the decision behind that? And what good comes from that? Is it just a reminder of what you don't want to be anymore? Or?
Oh, I don't know. Good question. I don't know. I did that. Andrea Kramer is the young lady's name that did the. We get a lot of phone calls to do this. Trace Armstrong, a very good friend of mine, helps Spence and stuff. So, this is first class. It's a good story for families and people, and it might be good to do it. I look back now, and it was a positive experience. I don't know why. To answer your question, I don't know that. I can't say, hey, let's go do this. It came across my desk. I said, no, of course not. And I got a couple of phone calls. I said, yeah, it would be good for people to see and all that. So that's fine.
And last question, Todd, front row, middle.
Irving, you have a lot of young players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Sort of references Tim's question a little bit. At what point in time, this is the fourth game of the season, what point in time is lack of experience, no longer a good excuse at the head coach's desk to say this guy.
After week one, I mean, we're not a big, I hope that you guys feel that we're not a big excuse program. No, we're not a blame, we don't blame, we don't. So I hear that, and if you hear me say as the coach, I try to never go there. And I want our staff, I hear that in our coaching staff, when I say how many our players go, well, we have a new quarterback. No, you don't. So he's a veteran player now. So we try not to go there. If I hear, I don't listen to read a lot of stuff, but if Jerry says, you know, Coach Fickle or Coach Furman are making excuses for lack of experience, then I'll sit with the coach. I never really had to do that. So I think those are long gone. If it's coming, it's certainly not coming from this building, I hope.
Yeah, you know,
Young players, I mean, that's.
I'm not saying you guys use it, I'm just saying it's real, though. I mean,
Yeah, it's not really anymore. You played the primetime game, you played the wishbone, you played, your week 4, so it's, as far as I'm concerned, it was over after week 1. The offensive line has to perform at a very high level, because it's an Ohio State standard. The good thing is, I never hear that around here. If that's on the outside, that's on the outside.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.